Good morning. Welcome to tea time. Good morning, good morning, good morning, folks. I hope that you are doing well. I am really well. I'm feeling a lot of gratitude this morning. It is at the end, the tail end of what has been Carnival Road March. So this is the week after Carnival Road March, and I can tell you, as unforgettable as the experience itself was, the recovery is just as unforgettable. Okay. So, how are you guys doing? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I am actively trying to get my tea to cool down and stuff because I need the tea. I need the tea this morning. We are going to be touching on just this conversation about doubt and your mind and where we are in your goal creation, your manifestation journey, because we are at May. It is May 3rd, right? I mean, May just started 3 days ago. And as soon as you go like that, it's going to be Mother's Day. And then once Mother's Day passes, you know you're in June. That's literally what happens, right? So for some of you, you may have joined my manifestation challenge, which I started at the beginning of April. I said to you guys that we were going to take 3 months between April and June. So, April, May, June, those 3 months, you were going to pick one thing that you wanted to manifest. Now, some of us may have picked more than one thing, okay? And that's okay too. But at a minimum, you should have chosen at least one thing that you are going to create for yourself. One target, one outcome, one big dream, something that you desire, right? And we were going to work together to make sure that you achieve that one dream. I think a lot of times persons will see teachers and gurus and different kinds of experts, coaches. You'll see them talking about manifesting, or you'll see them about hitting your goal or doing something big, and you don't do anything. You listen, maybe you listen to the first couple of shares or whatever. You may even pay for a class, but then you don't do anything with it. And maybe some of you will start, but you don't finish. Okay? So today, this morning, we're going to be talking about the main reason, or one of the main reasons why that happens. And it's something I'm intimately familiar with, which is why this is always called tea time, because I'm always telling y'all the tea. But you guys have to realize that, once you're an adult, no matter what home you came up in, once you're an adult, you're going to be facing things and situations that are going to make you doubt yourself, that are going to make you doubt that you can have the life that you want, that are going to make you feel like you can't do this thing, you can't create a life that is one that you want to live, one that just feels good, like one where you're just constantly saying to yourself, oh my God, my life is so good. Like, that's the narrative. The narrative on a regular and consistent basis is, oh my gosh, my life is so amazing. If right now you can't say that every single day, and when I say every single day, I mean even when your day is going to crap, even when your day sucks, right? Like, it's not going as planned, you can somehow find your way back to the narrative that says, oh my gosh, I'm so blessed, I'm so grateful. My life, boy, my life is still really good. My life is still good. If you can't do that almost daily, then you need to watch this live. All right. You need to watch this live if you are going through most of your days saying, life hard, I'm tired for try, I can't take it. This is too hard. Every time I move 10 steps forward, it's like I move 20 steps back. I'm tired. I don't think this is ever going to work for me. If you're in complaining mode and complaining about your job, your boss, your husband, your wife, your sister, your lover, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your parents, if that is where you are sat every single day or at least several days out of the week, you need to watch this live. We're going to talk about it. So get your tea. What are you drinking? What are you drinking? Get your cup of tea. Listen, people, my grandmother taught me from when I was a young girl. Make sure that you have a cup of tea in the morning. Make sure that you have a cup of tea in the morning. So that's what we're doing. I'm drinking my tea. Today, it's my Indian chai. I could not come on live until I made this tea. I wake up and I needed the chai tea. And it takes a little while to make. It takes about 20 minutes to make the chai. It takes about that, but I had to have it. So that's what's in my cup. In my cup. So even if your cup has, I really advise you not to have alcohol too early in the morning. But if you feel you must, put it in some tea. Warm up your tummy a friendly way, although the alcohol not helping you. But anyway, get your cup of tea. If you have a Jamaican grandma or a grandma from anywhere in the Caribbean, I'm pretty sure they're going to tell you to have a cup of tea or some porridge, a cup of coffee, something. So grab your tea and let's get talking. Today we are talking about this sinister yet prevalent situation that is called doubt. All right. And doubt is one of the most paralyzing things when you are trying to achieve this big dream, this big vision. It is the most paralyzing thing. And what happens a lot of times, and I talked about doubt a few times before, but I have to keep talking about it because most of you out there don't realize when you're stuck in doubt. You don't realize how doubt shows up. You might hear the word fear and you think, oh, I'm not fearful, I'm courageous. But there is evidence in your life that's proving that you're not as courageous as you think. There is evidence in your life that is showing that you are suffering from doubt. And so this morning, I wanted to talk about doubt and just the way that doubt shows up, and sometimes how you don't even recognize that that's what you're suffering from, right? So we're going to talk about that, and then we are going to study one particular method that I have been using, I continue to use it today, that helps to combat doubt, that helps you to do some kind of reset so that you are moving the blocks out of the way for the things that you're trying to create in your life. Because guys, this creation thing, this life happening thing, it's not an accidental story. And there's always going to be an area of your life, or maybe two or three, that you don't really have to worry about. Like sometimes I hear from people, oh, I don't really need mindset work. I don't really need mindset transformation because I'm very successful. I make a lot of money. And if I say I want this thing or that thing, I have it. But when you look at their lives, they don't have good relationships. They don't have great friendships. They don't have great experiences with other people. And that's because you're not aware, or you're not conscious, and you're not being mindful about that particular part of your life. So you're stuck. And more than likely, there is some kind of self-doubt that is at play in that part of your life. All right. So this morning, I wanted to talk, to kind of share with you guys the way that doubt, how did we end up with doubt in the first place? That's kind of the thing. I think a lot of us don't really understand how we got into this space of doubt. It's really not your fault. Like being what you say, low in confidence, or having low confidence moments, it's really not your fault. And why I can say to you that it's not your fault is because Doubt is not something that you're born with. Like, it's not. You come into life and you're pretty normal. Everything is cool. You're a baby. You have no real concept of life. So you can't have real concept of failure or not being able to make things work. Like, that doesn't exist for you. Think about it. So doubt is not something you're born with. You are not born that way. You know how when Beyonce came out with this song, what is the song name again? Lord, I can't remember the name of the song. But there was a verse, a line in the song, not a verse, a line in the song that said, I woke up like this. I woke up like this. I woke up like this. You did not wake up doubtful. Okay. I mean, maybe now, but you were not born this way. Lady Gaga said, baby, I was born this way. No, you weren't, Lady Gaga. You had to make up your mind to be great. You had to make up your mind to be fabulous. You had to make up your mind to be successful. You are not born with doubt, but you do have to make up your mind to be whatever you're going to be. Because what happens? What happens is you come into the world and then doubt is transplanted into your mind. That's what happens. Doubt is transplanted in your minds. And because doubt is transplanted in your minds, you now have to do the work. This is where the work part comes in. You have to do the work of creating a different type of thinking. Okay? So you come, you land, you're a baby, and then because of situations and circumstances, doubt becomes a part of your DNA. And when I say situations and circumstances, I'm talking about you observing other people, people's language around you, the things that you are told as you are growing up, whether intentionally or not intentionally. I mean, especially when you grow up in Jamaica, guys, and we've shared this before on Tea Time, you grow up in Jamaica and culturally, there are just certain things that are embedded in the language of society. And there's a lot of negative narrative buried in the consciousness of our culture. And I love my country, but I can tell you that there is an ongoing narrative that tells us that we're not good enough and that we're going to fail. Now, imagine being an entrepreneur, but imagine being somebody that is going into business and you are literally hearing this narrative from way back when that says, you're going to be broke, or is life hard and you can't make no money on this island and you can't, that's literally programming. And that's not you putting that there. You didn't put it there. But whether you realize it or not, it is embedded in who you have become. Listen, man, let me tell you. Listen to me good. You did not put doubt into your DNA. You didn't place it there when you were born. And you can look at the distinction like a baby, for instance, as a solid example. Oh, right? Babies do not have any sense of fear. They don't have any sense of failure. They just know they need to survive, and they're going to be doing whatever it takes to survive. Every single baby decides at some point that they're going to try to walk. Why? Because they're looking around and they've been laid on their backs or on their stomachs, and everybody else is getting up and moving around them, right? And they're like, okay, well, how am I going to do that? Like, that's the natural way that we are molded, by visualizing and taking from the examples. And then when you're a baby, people are encouraging you. They're like, yes, you can walk. Yes, get on your knees, do the creepy crawly thing, get up. Yeah, man. And there's a lot of positive reinforcement. And so eventually, this baby gets on the knees. Then puts the hands on whatever countertop or whatever it can reach, and then raises itself to stand. It is not thinking, oh, but what if I fall? That concept literally does not exist when you're a baby. And therefore, just go along with me here, hypothesis, just go along with me. It is safe to hypothesize, to assume, to make logical the connection that you are not born with doubt. All right? So we're going to make that hypothesis. We're not born with doubt. And therefore, since we are not born with doubt, that means that failure and smallness and not creating or building amazing, wonderful things, lives, that is not your fate. That is not your fate. Your fate is to see, attract, welcome into your life examples of success, examples of possibility creating, of possibility building. That is your fate, to see those examples, to mirror those examples, and to create that life for yourself. It is no accident that you have happened upon this live, that you have happened upon this conversation. There is some part of you that requires this message right now. That's why you're here. That's why you've attracted it. There is something in your life that needs a little confidence injection, needs a little reminder of who you actually are. You need that little. All right. And so this is why you're a part of this discussion now, because there's some part of your life that you're not living to your fullest potential, or there are people in your life who you are seeing not live to their full potential. And you need to have a conversation with them, and you want to know, well, what can I talk to them about? How do I have this conversation? How do I say to them that you are not meant to live a life that is less? You are not meant to live a life that's in lack. You are not meant to live in lack, people. All right? You are meant to live a life of possibility, of purpose, a life of power. Right? And so what we have to do is we have to recognize doubt for what it is. And then we have to now determine, well, how am I going to shift from that? Because if you can recognize something for what it is and do nothing about it, that's also there and available to you. Okay? So I want you to identify for yourself, if you are a part of my TikTok challenge, if you're a part of my TikTok challenge and you decided that you want to manifest something by the end of June, we started in April, we started last month, but it doesn't matter. You could start right now and decide that you want to create a goal or a dream or something that you're going to achieve by the end of June. Oh, no, this is going to be interesting drinking this tea this morning, guys, because I made my Indian tea from scratch. And that means it has like a lot of spices and raw things in there, like ginger and allspice and cardamom. So when you're drinking it, you're supposed to strain it. You're supposed to strain the tea so you can leave all of the ginger and all of the trash and everything in the teapot. But guess what happened to me this morning? No, I couldn't find any strainer. I have like 3 tea strainers. Small strainers that I've bought to fit just over. You don't understand. I'm a tea addict, guys. I drink tea constantly. Couldn't find not one of the strainers. So of course, no, I'm drinking a piece of ginger. A piece of ginger. Oh my God. Okay. So if you see me chewing, I'm literally chewing the tea, I guess, Anyway, this morning we're going to help you guys get over this doubt thing. All right. And if you see me chewing my tea, it's because I couldn't find a strainer to strain out the tea. So first, we got to recognize what doubt is. What is doubt? Doubt is a habit. All right? Doubt is a habit. And it's a habit that you were trained to form from you were a child. Doubt is not your fault. Okay? Doubt is a condition that was a part of the programming that you got since you were a child. So, doubt is a habit that was formed because of people, conversations, and situations that you were exposed to. So, it's a habit, right? And it's a condition that was created by things external to you. It's not your fault. So once you know those two things, doubt is not my fault. My self-doubt that I have that I'm walking around with, my lack of confidence, all of those things, it's not my fault. Level set. All right? Now that you have that level and you realize it's not my fault and it's a habit, you now know that it's something that can be broken. Doubt can be broken. Self-doubt can be broken. But don't think that you're going to just watch this conversation and then the doubt could just go through the back door. That's not the way it works. You're going to have to do some work because remember, this may be the first conversation you're having about doubt not being your fault and doubt being a habit and doubt being a condition. This may be the first conversation. And if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 and just having this conversation, that means you have at least 2 decades of this habit that you now have to break. That was the biggest thing that I had to get accustomed to. I had to understand that when I decided that I was going to change my life and I was going to go through this whole life transformation and move from lack to luxury, once I made that decision for myself, and I started to set some intentions and I started to do all these different classes and, I was like, why are things not moving? Why is it not changing? What's happening? Why isn't it doing quick? What's going on? I realized it took me a while to realize that, well, you have all of this almost like code. It's literally like somebody has built the internet in your head. Think of how amazing Google is, or how amazing Instagram is, or TikTok or YouTube. Think about how massive that piece of technology is. Imagine that YouTube or TikTok is a doubt machine, and that you have that doubt machine in your head. That's literally what is happening to you. Literally. And so if that machine is there running in your mind, it's not just going to stop. You literally have to make choices every single day to shift the doubt so that you can start to see different outcomes in your life. And it doesn't happen just by watching this live conversation or by watching a couple of reels or attending one class. You have to make a solid commitment to yourself that you're going to shift. So, what have we gotten so far? We've gotten that you were not born with doubt. Doubt is a habit that was created by people, situations, and circumstances outside of you. And we've learned that doubt is not your fault. We've just now added on that once you recognize these things, that you also recognize that it is a habit that can be broken. It is programming that can be unraveled or reprogrammed, but it doesn't happen by just some one-off thing. You have to be constantly challenging yourself. You have to be constantly deciding that you want to be a different person, that you want to embody a different experience. Right? And the reason why this decision is important is because at some point in time, you have to draw a line in the sand. You have to make a decision to become something else. You have to make a decision to become the person that can experience the dream or the goal that you want to have in your life. And this line in the sand is important because if you don't draw that line in the sand, then you're going to keep feeding the habit that is there. You're going to keep feeding the self-doubt habit. And let me tell you how you know about the self-doubt habit. Let me tell you how you know. It's so easy to spot. It's so easy to spot. All you got to do is pay attention. Let me tell you what you're paying attention to. Your language. Your language is your indicator of your doubt because your mind is very smart. Your mind will have doubt thoughts, and when you say, oh, but that's doubt, it's going to convince you that it's not a doubt thought. For example, you might be an entrepreneur. Let's use that as an example because I'm an entrepreneur right now and I'm in the middle of doing this thing right now, okay? You might be an entrepreneur or you're at work and you decide that you want to try out a new idea, okay? So you're trying out this new idea, you're trying out this new thing. You want to make some money, you're going to run a big campaign, you're going to sell some new stuff, whatever it is. For me, I'm in the middle of a launch, okay? I'm literally in the middle of rolling out a retreat. So this is my second retreat for the year. It's for mothers. So I've designed it so it can be given as a Mother's Day gift, but the retreat is actually happening in June. So I'm in the middle of my launch. Now, my self-doubt thoughts are usually attached to money. So that's another thing. You kind of have to examine what are your doubt thoughts attached to. Are they attached to finances? Are they attached to what people will think about you? Are they attached to, oh, this is not going to work? Doubt thoughts that are related to whether or not you can actually succeed at something. What are your doubt thoughts usually attached to? Mine are usually attached to money. It is usually something that is very paralyzing, right? Something that makes you afraid to take a step. So since my doubt thoughts are usually attached to money, what that means is when I'm in the middle of putting out something new, the first doubt thought that I'm going to observe in my mind is one that says, oh my God, suppose it don't sell. What are you going to do when you have to pay for X or Y? You're going to be out of pocket. Oh my gosh, you have children and they're expensive. Oh my God, you have these bills to pay and what's going to happen to the investment? And when you don't sell all of the stock, what you're going to do with it? You have to put, those are the things that typically attack my mind right away. So leading up to the launch, the doubt thoughts were, you need to launch sooner. You're launching too late. If people don't see it, then they're not going to buy it. And so you have to get very good at observing the thoughts that are coming up for you whenever you decide that you want to try something new, whenever you decide that you want to not be small. When you decide that you are going to step out into greatness, what is the mind doing? What is it telling you? And here how I said to you that you have to watch your words and not your thoughts, right? Or at first, because eventually you'll get good enough that you can master your mind. But at first you have to watch your words. And here's why. Because your mind, it will make the doubt thoughts seem very logical. I am a mother. Okay? My children, I have children in university. I have children in private school. I have bills to pay. I have to feed them. I have to clothe them. Right? So if my mind tells me, boy, Stacey, I don't think you should invest in trying to do this retreat right now because it's a luxury retreat and it's expensive. And if it doesn't sell, you're going to owe these people how much this, that, and you have to make sure that you can pay your university fees. The change of term is coming up. this bill is coming up and you have to be able to buy groceries to feed the kids. Those are all logical thoughts. Are you guys with me? So I can look at my mind and I can say, boy, the thoughts are logical. But guess what happened now? When you start to speak and you're talking to somebody, and maybe some you would have said to somebody that you're doing this great idea, and they come back and they ask you, oh, how is the idea going, boy? I didn't bother to do it now because right now I have to figure out the bills for the kids, and I have to be a responsible mommy, and when you start to observe your words, because sometimes you miss the thought, sometimes the thoughts sound so logical. When you start to observe the words now, and the words that are coming out of your mouth, and you're like, but the person might even start saying to you, but yeah, but you could give it a shot. And what if you talk to the persons that are helping you with this investment? Or the person might say, but suppose I give you the money. No, 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 I don't want you to, I don't want to take an investment. Or you have to start paying attention. You have to start paying attention to the way that your words are stifling your potential. This is doubt operating in the background of your mind. Is your potential being paralyzed by doubt? Ask yourself that question. Look at the thing that you have not been able to manifest. Look at the thing that you have not been able to create. And it can be relationships too. It doesn't have to be about wealth or money or even something physical like, you're building muscle or whatever. It can be about relationships. It's the same principle. It starts off in your mind, and then comes through your mouth and out into the ether, out into the atmosphere. And the more your mind and your mouth repeat a thing, the more the thing that it is repeating comes to life. So the more your doubts are going to paralyze you, the more your experiences are going to reflect a paralyzed potential. And so you have to shift up your practices, guys. This is where I'm getting to. You have to shift up the practices that you are doing so that you can start to train your mind to produce different thoughts. You have to train your mind to produce different thoughts so that you can start repeating different things, because your subconscious, the thing that creates your experience, your external world, your subconscious obeys repetition. Let me take it back to the baby example. Remember earlier in the live, I was saying to you that we were not born with doubt. We were not born with fear, right? And when you think about a baby and taking steps, and you think about a baby at the top of stairs and just stepping off, there is no fear there. There is no concept of failure or of pain or punishment or hurt or anything like that, right? At that point in time, when a baby is learning to walk, that subconscious is being developed. What is being repeated to that baby? You can do it. Yeah, man, take the step. Try. Come on. Yes, we're rooting for you. That's all of the external things that's going on. That's the praise and the external stuff that's going on. Because for some reason, as adults, we are willing to encourage the baby to walk because, well, we all walk. We know that it's safe. We know that, yeah, you got to move around. You got to get around. And so what starts to happen is the subconscious starts to get trained to do that thing. It's a repetitive conversation. Guys, you getting this? I'm getting excited just thinking about it myself. Your subconscious as a baby trying to walk is getting the repetitive reinforcement of greatness. Your subconscious at that point in time starts to get trained to obey repetition, and the repetition that it's seeing around them. When you're a baby, you're seeing repetition of you can do it. Yes, try. Come on. You move up a little bit. You're learning now. You're a toddler. You're learning your ABCs, but guess what start to happen now? You might hear, no, you just can't get it. You're so stupid. How many times I have to tell you that that is the letter A? It changes a little bit, right? It changes a little bit. And so what starts to happen over time is this repetition that you're getting externally may not always be positive reinforcement. It may not always be possibility and purposeful training. And so the repetition that starts to happen in your mind is reflecting what's happening in people's circumstances and situations. So by the time you get to 20, 30, 40, you now have to start to examine what are the words that are coming out of your mouth? What is the mind doing? What is being repeated over and over again? Because most of you are living an identity that you didn't even choose. You're living an identity you didn't choose because you're repeating things that you may have heard from other people. And therefore, if you're not examining the repetition that's coming from your mouth or the repetition that's coming from your mind, you're going to be stuck in self-doubt. And you will not realize your greatness. You will stay stuck in smallness, and that is not your fate. So what happens, guys, is that you end up being very powerful in your potential, but you end up being paralyzed in practice. You are used to practicing the negative narrative that other people have embodied in your life all this time. And instead of practicing that, you need to be practicing powerful statements. You need to be practicing purpose-filled statements. You need to be practicing intentions that are going to allow you to step into your greatness. I'm going to just draw for the intention cards at the same time. The card for today, I know who I am. And this one is a really popular one, and it's good because you need to recognize that you are not the voices in your head or the opinions of other people. That is where doubt comes from. That is where the programming, the habit of doubt comes from. Okay? So you have to examine when no one else is watching and the results are not showing, the success results are not coming in. What are you saying to yourself? What are you repeating to yourself? Are you repeating that you know who you are? Or are you repeating that I'm tired, I can't do this, this is not going to work? Why did I start this in the first place? Are you repeating life is amazing, there is always something that's going to work out, everything always works out for me, everything always works out as it should? Or are you repeating, I should have never tried that and I should have never reached out to that person, I should have never do this, or this never works out for me? You're going to keep getting what you are repeating. And what you are trained to repeat is self-doubt thoughts. It's not your fault. And so now is the time to make a decision. Today, draw a line. Draw a line in the sand today that says, as at today, I am going to be powerful in my potential, not paralyzed in it. I am about winning. I am not about doubting. Affirm for yourself what you are going to be saying to yourself on a consistent basis. And if you cannot figure out the words, then buy a deck of intention cards. And I'm not hard selling, guys. If it's not my affirmation cards, get somebody else's. Because mine are actually now in limited edition, them limited circulation, because I have very few decks left. And I don't even know if I'm going to repeat these. So the prices are going up. You are powerful beyond your imagination. Powerful beyond your imagination. And I can actually say that now, but it took me 15 years to get to this point. You know what happened this past Monday? This past Monday, I celebrated 15 years of surviving cancer. On April 28th, 15 years ago, I was told that I have breast cancer and that it was aggressive and that I was going to have to do chemo, radiation, hormone therapy, and I was going to have to cut off my breast. 15 years ago, my whole body was toxic. My life was toxic. And I had to At some point from that diagnosis to now, I had to have drawn a line in the sand. I had to have drawn a line in the sand several times. Otherwise, my life would not be this right now. I wouldn't be sat here talking to y'all about this because my life would still be toxic. I would still be stuck in gossip and drama and mix up and blend and headache and stress. I would still be stuck there, but I am not. I consistently have to elevate myself above those experiences and choose to be powerful with my potential because I want my life to be amazing. I want to go to bed every night and have something to say, my God, my life is good, even when I've had a crappy day. And that is what you want to aspire towards. The money not going to flow straight enough. If you are broke today and your intention that you are seeking to manifest is wealth, then I can tell you that you have some work to do on doubt and fear and mindset and what you're telling yourself and what you're telling other people, what's coming out of your mouth. You know why? Because I've been there. I know. And that has been where I've had to do the most work. Relationships, you're going to have to cauterize some people, some places, some things. You're going to have to cut off. Like how I had to cut off my breast, literally, you're going to have to cut off some relationships if you want your life to be different. Because the same way that you welcome doubt unwillingly, because whether it was your parents or your teachers or your pastor or whoever was feeding you, you have people in your life right now that are feeding you parasites for your mind. They are not about your greatness, and you know it. And you are stuck in stupid, sitting there waiting for them to exit when you are the one that has to make that severance. You are the one that has to cut that cord. Oh, don't get me preaching this morning. Some of us are sat here waiting for our lives to be better, and we're questioning whether we are good enough. We're not sure that we're great. You are born great. You are born with all of this potential and purpose. So you have to decide that you're going to live it. You have to decide every day. You have to decide, I am going to create. I'm going to live my greatness. I'm going to stand in my power. I'm going to use my potential towards my purpose every day. And some days it's not going to work. But once you get into the habit, you'll have more days where it works than days that it doesn't. And I guarantee it. I'm a living example of it, guys. I don't come on here lightly because it's fun and it's fluff. I come on here because it's something I'm very passionate about. And I saw myself suffer through so much, and I don't want other people to go through the same sufferation. You're a woman, that means that you can birth nations. That alone. You're a man, that means you can provide the birthing of nations. That alone. Come on now, stand in your power. Do not allow this world to tell you who you are. You decide. Decide today. And for the month of May, we are going to be tackling belief. If you're not a part of my TikTok challenge, if you're not even on TikTok, that's fine. But on TikTok, I drop reminders during the course of the month. So for April, there's about 20 reminders about the things that you need to be thinking about, the things that you need to feed your mind. For the month of May, I'm going to be focusing on reminders about belief, because we're manifesting some stuff. We are changing our lives. We're not sit down and just take it. We're going to change our lives, and we're going to do it one moment at a time, one mindful moment at a time. No matter where you are, if you are on your face flat, broke, can't afford nothing, that's okay. This is free information. Go back and watch it on YouTube. It's recording on YouTube right now. Okay? So for the month of May, we are going to be breaking down the barriers of doubt and building up a bounty of belief. You hear me? The month of May, we're going to be breaking down the barriers of doubt and building up a bounty of belief. And the reason May is perfect for that is because May is also Mental Wellness Month. We want some mental wellness. We want some mindsets that are well. Everybody thinks that when people talk about mental illness, they're talking about the madman that walking up and down on the street. No, all of us are mentally ill if you're out there thinking that you're something that you're not. It's basic. So we're going to focus on our mental wellness for me, and we're going to do that by embedding belief in our DNA and breaking down some of these barriers that doubt has put in place. So join me, guys. I'm excited. We have 2 months left in this manifestation journey, 2 months, May and June. So hop on the train right now. You're not too late. Have a wonderful Saturday. Enjoy your weekend. And I'll see you next week on another epic of Tea Time. See you next week, Saturday. Bye, guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining.